Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. I'm your host, Jed Brown, founder of Low Season Traveller, and this week we're joined by Emmanuel Separo, who is the founder and general manager of Charm Adventure, which is an organisation which provides outstanding experiences throughout Italy. I caught up with Emmanuel to learn more about Italy and the opportunities for some true low-season travels. Enjoy. So a very good morning, Emanuele, and welcome to the Low Season Traveller podcast. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Jed, and really happy to be here.
Fantastic. So look, first of all, let's talk about where we are. Obviously, we are during the lockdown, as we all know. I'm here in Manchester. It's a very grey, cold day, actually. Where are you located right now, Emmanuel?
So right now, I live in Milan. I'm based in Milan with my office, and I live there. But I left the city on March 9 because, of course, the situation was not so, good. So I moved to the countryside, like 50 minutes from Milan, and in Brianza is the name of the area. So,
yep.
Here's a sunny day. Things, luckily are getting better. So I'm happy about that. Italy was, the first country hit by this virus. But we are now, let's say, we see the light,
yep.
let's say,
Good.
And we're happy about that. Numbers are good. We are reopening. So let's say May will be a good month, I think, for reopening all the activities. Even bar and restaurants will be open on June 1st. June should be the right month, and so we hope basically I'm missing my job, so that's the point. So we love travel, we love to host our beautiful guests every year, and we hope to restart and do our beautiful job again so soon, and so here's the situation.
So hopefully everything will be open in the summer, and hopefully, obviously what we're hoping is that people will be able to travel to places like Italy again in the summer season. Are you I guess you would expect that the numbers aren't going to be what they usually would be for this summer. Does that provide, once we open up, does that provide an opportunity actually for like low season travelers who usually, I'm guessing that for most of Italy, the peak season is the summer months. So therefore, the low season travelers usually would keep away from the summer. Actually, if we just open in the summer, is there an opportunity for low season travelers to have that low season experience during the summer months this year? What's your feeling?
Absolutely, I agree. The situation here is it's difficult to, let's say, to understand and to plan something is very difficult now. But yeah. I believe, summer can be, I believe in last minute bookings this year. So 2020 will be a strange year. The worst scenario for us is that we lose the 2020. As a DMC, we do incoming, and you can understand now the catastrophes win. But at the same time, I believe that, as you said, summer season can be, why not a good moment for low season travelers, because of course you can find it's not only about rates, of course, because of course rates would be lower, so cheap travel, let's say, good rates, but at the same time less crowds, of course. Yep. You don't find maybe Venice like with millions and millions of people that are always crazy. And so summer can represent, I think, a first step maybe for last minute bookings for strong travelers that believe and they need travel, and they maybe want to visit Italy in this case and see some, why not main cities less crowded, or at the same time more remote areas, because why not, of course. If we talk about low season travel, Italy is a strange country because you can have low season the whole year.
Oh, really?
Depending on the areas. Oh. And you have peak season depending on the areas the whole year. Why? Because we are a small country, but at the end we have, I give you an example. I live in Milan. in 1 hour and a half driving, I have lakes, I have mountains, I have sea, I have countryside, I have cities, I have everything in 1 hour and a half. As you can understand, it's easy to understand when, depending on the season, you can have always low season, because depending on the areas, for example, mountains, Alps and Dolomites. So Dolomites are really well known for skiing and good powder, but at the same time, Alps are really good on the other side, on the northern part. And there, for example, you have peak season, December, January, February. So the ski season, even March. At the same time, when you have like spring and summer, it's not like, in the winter season, it's different. And you can find basically a sort of low season there. So less crowded, people that love mountains in the summer. So it's very flexible, as you can imagine. And it's interesting, I think, because it's a very flexible country, and we can work on the season, we can work on the low season travelers trend. And based on their expectation and based on their need, we can customize something really from January to December.
What kind of, for any travelers out there, like myself, I've only relatively, we explained before we started recording, I've only been to Trieste in Italy, so I'm not really well traveled in Italy at all. Someone like me, and there could be our listeners out there that maybe they haven't been to Italy yet, and it's somewhere that they'd be interested in traveling to. What kind of an itinerary or experiences would you recommend for people who maybe haven't been to Italy, first time, and they want to start to gently immerse themselves into the Italian culture and what Italy has to offer? What kind of stuff would you recommend, and where would you recommend that they go?
So based on my experience, or it's Italian experience, so people that we work in this market in the travel industry, the first-time traveler is always focused on the main cities, very well known, like Venice, Florence, Rome, Amalfi Coast. Okay, so these are the main areas. Milan was growing because it's more European now, more leisure city, not only business. So Milan was growing, and I think the first itinerary, usually for first-time travelers, is, for example, like 8 days, 10 days, 15 days, depending on the nationalities, of course, because usually US, like they love like the 10 days, 2 weeks. You can spend like starting from Venice and do like Venice, Florence, Rome, Amalfi Coast. This is usually the first itinerary that, the first Italian experience. What we are trying to do is, of course, to push less known destinations, more remote areas, so different regions, different cities, different areas. But at the same time, we work in a very, we have a 100% bespoke approach. So it's very tailor-made, and we are very focused on experiences. And experience is let's say in the luxury segment, that it's our it's a core business. It's extremely important with the high quality, together with the high quality service. So service and experience are the two key points for our valuable guests. Service, of course, means all the land, air services, all private, a nice VIP meet and greet at the airport, all this stuff, personal assistant, whatever. Experience is what you can taste and enjoy and discover to live like locals and to meet local lifestyle and local people. And for first-time travelers, our goal is, if you come with Charm and Adventure, you can leave the country. Of course, you can do the main sightseeing, the Vatican museums in Rome, the ancient Rome, or the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. But at the same time, we always love to mix and to customize something, to include something in the itinerary that it's a little bit different, to give more value to the product. So like a special maybe private dinner, not in a restaurant, but in a private palace, to meet some locals, to have some artisans experience, to have some, of course, maybe very unique experiences for the high end. can be expensive, but at the same time, we deliver the wow effect to the high end that they need. So coming back to your question, first time traveler usually is, classic main cities like Venice, Florence, Rome, Amalfi Coast. This is like the first step, I would say.
Okay.
Then, of course, if we think about, we have a lot of repeated travelers, it's a different kind of, travel, different kind of experience.
I think you find that, don't you, in many parts of the world. You have your entry points for a destination, where that's where people's first experience will be. If it's the US, it's New York, or it's Orlando or LA.
Yeah.
But then once you've been there a couple of times or whatever, then it's when you start to think, actually, I want to see a little bit more, and maybe want to go to places which are less visited. So I suppose that neatly comes on to the next question, which is, okay, for any of the listeners out there, they've done, Venice, Florence, Rome, maybe Milan, Amalfi Coast. What's next? What else does Italy offer for them? What would you recommend is the next step for them, and the kind of tours which you see that people might want to go on when they've done all of the main ones first, and they want to try something a little bit different, and a little bit more out of the way? Where do you recommend, and where do you bring people?
So let's say very good question, and frankly speaking, I love repeated travelers. I have passion for my country. I love my country, so I do all I do is with passion. And when we sell less known destinations, it's creativity and its passion are are essential. So I give you some examples. So we have some regions. So northern Italy can be like Piedmont, and Piedmont, Langhe-Roero, it's an area of this region that was nominated by the UNESCO, the World Heritage Site, for the wine production. It was the first site ever nominated for the wine production, wine tradition from the World Heritage Site. So because there is a strong tradition there. So Piedmont, for example, it's close to Lombardy region, so northern part close to the Alps, near Valle d'Aosta, so the small region, the first in the north. So then you have Piedmont. Piedmont is a huge region and famous for wine, castles, truffle, of course, for the Alba auction, and that you have every year, and the Alba exhibition of white truffle. White truffle, of course, it's more November, December. The black truffle is usually, let's say, the whole year. It's less expensive. So Piedmont, for example, it's a region that you can be mixed with like Liguria. So the southern part, the border, you have Liguria on the southern part, and you have Cinque Terre, you have Portofino, you have Genoa. Less known, but absolutely amazing. So why not? Like 1 week, 10 days, these two regions. This is one idea. And then you can easily be connected with Tuscany from Cinque Terre. So you can do Piedmont, Liguria, and Tuscany, for example. For repeated travelers, usually they ask for even Sicily. So southern Italy, one of the two main islands, Sardinia and Sicily. So Sicily, southern part, huge region. You need usually 1 month at least to have the idea of the region, because it's very different from north, south, east, west. So it's very different in tradition, culture, food and wine, everything, artisans. So Sicily, it's it's a one travel must be done alone. So you do Sicily and that's it, and it's an amazing area. So Sardinia, of course, is the same, huge region. You can spend, of course, from 1 week to if you want 3 weeks there, no problem. So you have this northern part, completely different from the southern part, wild, less crowded, and instead of the northern part is the VIP area where you find celebrities, you find the billionaires, you find a lot of supercars, clubs, and all this stuff. And I don't like that kind of area because it's too, fancy and posh. So I like the southern part because it's more, let's say, wild. Uh, Other areas, for example, are Umbria. Umbria, it's similar to Tuscany, so it's southern part of Tuscany. You have this beautiful region, and it's wild. It's you maybe you don't find all this 5-star resort like in Tuscany, amazing. You have more, let's say, countryside, old mansion villas like rustic, or this kind of style that is not maybe luxury like Tuscany, but is absolutely amazing. And there, I know that even the real estate is growing a lot. From you have a lot of investors now coming from foreign investors that coming to Umbria to buy this kind of villas and even castles. And then, of course, Apulia. Apulia is so southern part on the east part, east coast, and it's a crazy region, amazing region, beautiful sea, strong food tradition. Like, I mean, all the 20 regions that food and wine in Italy is very different, and in each region. So we have 20 regions, and each region has a different culture, food culture and wine culture. Apulia, it's a beautiful mix of sea and you have also this beautiful Trulli, so it's the local house, like Alberobello. It's the typical, well-known small town with this local house, really made of stone. So it's quite original, let's say, and different. And you have a famous like a restaurant in a cave that it's absolutely amazing. You have this crazy stuff, and then at the same time you have beautiful city, from Lecce, Ostuni, even Bari. It's a beautiful city. The southern part of Apulia, it's amazing. So at the end, for repeated travelers, we have hundreds of options, hundreds. Yeah. And it's difficult, sometimes to, when you say, I have 2 weeks, where should I have to go? And the answer, it's very difficult, because based on what if it's the first time, second time, I have people coming for, fifth time, sixth time, asking for something very new.
Yeah. I suppose, look, again, when you're looking at the average, holiday duration, certainly for the UK, is 2 weeks. You're not going to do the whole of Italy in 2 weeks. I mean, you're going to do a small part. So it's about, I suppose, picking the part of Italy that you'd like to spend time in. But there's just, just writing it down, scribbling it down furiously as you're talking. I'm just thinking, oh my God, I want to go to all of these places, especially when you start talking about food and wine, actually. That's what really sets me off.
I give you one more information that it's amazing. So a small country like Italy has the 70% of the World Heritage Sites in the world.
Wow,
so
really?
70%. It's the first country in the world, in terms of numbers of sites. So imagine, small regions like this, a small country like this, with this huge content. So it's crazy. So that's why it's difficult sometimes, It's not only the Colosseum and the Vatican Museums in Rome. It's very difficult.
There's so much more. But it's one of those ones. I was speaking to a lady recently from Nîmes, actually, in the southern part of France. Yeah. And I've never been to Nîmes. And she was saying, you really should come. It's wonderful. And she showed me. I don't know if you've been to Nîmes, Emmanuel, but
no.
They've got. It's like a obviously a smaller, but it's a Roman amphitheater. So obviously a version of the Colosseum. Obviously much smaller, but really authentic. And actually, when I was looking at pictures of this, and it's right in the middle of Nîmes town centre, I was like, who knew? How would I know that? I know about the Colosseum. And I guess there are these kind of Roman remnants. I mean, they literally have to be all over Italy. But we don't always see them. And I think that's, for me, it's starting to become apparent that there are, certainly in places, certainly around Italy and possibly, France and sort of further away as well, there must be some incredible treasures that are probably UNESCO protected as well, I'm sure. But you just wouldn't know about them unless you actually really go there. We know about the Colosseum, we know that Italy has Venice, but there's places that within Italy that we don't know about that are equally as absolutely wonderful and mesmerizing. And I suppose that's what, that's something that we want to try and encourage here, is for people to get out and see some of these different wonders. And I'm sure you'd agree that there are wonders in everyday life in Italy, that you probably take for granted, Emanuele, but for us it would be
No, but
wow.
believe me, I think that we have, Italy is, for example, is the first destination for the US market. It's a huge destination also for UK market.
Yeah.
The reason why, I think, so they say, usually La Dolce Vita, they say that the kind of, even the weather, the season we have, I think, of course, the food and wine, it's one of the most important, tradition used by all the chefs in the world. I mean, sometimes, even for health. So it's a healthy tradition, a healthy mix. So, and it's really important also this, and for food and wine, it's always unique for the kind of land we have. Every region here, we have a Mediterranean, we are really lucky for the Mediterranean climate and all this, the position we have. And I remember that I don't know if you watch like the Netflix, The Chef's Table, with, the famous chef, the first episode with Massimo Bottura, so the 3-star Michelin chef in Modena area. And he said like that we are very lucky in Italy because we have this kind of, a climate season. We have the sea, but we have the countryside, we have the mountains, and it's small regions. That's why we have this incredible food culture that comes from grandmothers, and come from the land, come from poor culinary recipes, poor food ideas. And this is our tradition in Italy. And of course, now we have a lot of, Michelin star, of course. But I think we are lucky for the position we have. And I think it's one of the main reason of this food and wine culture that it's quite unique in the world.
I think it's quite famous that you've got quite a, just an incredibly healthy lifestyle. It's often been said that the Italian diet is one of the healthiest. I think up there with the Japanese for exactly that reason. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, of course, we are well known, and of course, when we say, even, Italian are well known for pasta and pizza. Even for pasta, if you visit, each region has so many different kind of pasta that is not just the classic pasta that
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, to have, you have a lot of categories, a lot of thematic, and it's a huge war to explore. And what you said before, that we have a lot of beautiful things and venues and places to visit in the world. And I think when we travel, and I like to travel in this way, so if I have to spend 1 month in Australia, I love, because I do this job with passion and I sell my country, I would like to find another Emmanuel in Australia that can do the same job there, because I want to leave that destination with the local experts. And I can say I have this budget, but I want to leave the destination in different way. So I don't care about, to visit Sydney, like, walking and have the guide say, look, this is built in the 18th century, whatever. Maybe not in the 18th century in Sydney, so it's difficult to find something 18th century. But I would like to leave the destination with an expert. And I think experts, local insiders, I'm an Italian expert, and I sell the destination because I have a deep knowledge of my country. And I think this is the way we should work when we say, for low season travelers, whatever travelers we have, whatever season, the key point is to have, to be expert and to have a deep knowledge of the territory. This is absolutely important.
I agree. I mean, I think it's one of those where if you have an expert by your side helping guide you, it brings the destination to life. you know, because then you understand fully what you're seeing and experiencing, I think. And having done it before on my own, I've been and experienced certain places around the world. And I've done it on my own. And it's only when I've come back and spoken to somebody who's been there and actually done it properly with an insider who knows what they're talking about. And they're saying, did you go to such and such? Did you see this? Did you have a meal here? And I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't really experience that destination at all. And that's the difference that I think that it makes when you have a true passionate expert on your side. They help you bring it to life and you make the most out of your visit. Hey?
And I like to say, and I love to say to my my partners that the one of the most important thing in this job, I think, is storytelling. Storytelling is absolutely a key point for. I mean, based on my experience, I'm talking about high end, but storytelling is it's essential for guests, that even for repeated travelers. They don't want to meet a guide that to enjoy this classic sightseeing and visit that palace or that the Colosseum. The way you live at the destination with a good insider and with an expert that can you can discover so many different experiences, that is not just the sightseeing. It's a completely different way, as you said. So the knowledge you have and the storytelling you give, it's extremely important for us. So the storyteller for us can be a guide, can be the owner of a crowded palace, can be the artisan, can be a famous chef, can be whatever. So we always try to have a host, someone that can be the storyteller for our guests, and must be a good storyteller, not boring. If you have a family, should be a good storytelling for families. So you must be very flexible, but the basics are so good knowledge, storytelling, creativity, and and bespoke, of course.
Of course. And this is probably an unfair question now, Emanuele, and I'm sure you'll tell me if it is. Where's your favorite place in Italy? We're talking about there's so much variety. If you could only go to one more place in Italy for whatever reason, where would you personally choose to go? And obviously it varies by the individual, but for you personally, where's your favorite place? And also what I'd like to know is what is your favorite Italian dish?
So I like this question, because you find on my website for each person of the team, you will find eight tips about Italy.
Perfect.
And so one of the tips is the best dish.
Cool.
So I just thought in the 8 tips about one Italian movie, one Italian song, one Italian recipe,
awesome.
one preferred destination. So you can find it on the team section, because it's like the 8 tips for each person. So for example, the dish is one of the dishes is a risotto with radicchio. Radicchio is a vegetable, so a salad. Or another one is like, I love risotto. So I'm not a typical Italian, because I love more risotto than pasta, but that's my passion.
Yeah.
Favorite place, very difficult. I would say if I have a last travel, so one destination, I would say Tuscany or Umbria, and you find in the team section sort of a brief idea of which is my preferred, experience, my passion for, or my idea of the typical Italian day. And I wrote like, it's a day in Umbria and Tuscany, in agriturismo, so in a local farm. Cheers with wine with my friends there. Share moments with people I love. And in this beautiful countryside, because Umbria and Tuscany are, I think, one of the most beautiful regions in terms of countryside. No, you can't compare with any other regions in Italy. So why not? Yeah, local farm, not luxury. Why not? You have a lot of, even boutique local farm that, of course, they produce all local food and everything there, and maybe local wine. So a half day, full day there would be perfect for me. So it's relaxing and it's amazing.
Perfect. And I should point out for all of our listeners that they really should go on your website, which is charmadventure.com. And obviously, we'll post links to the website with this podcast and on the description of the podcast. But you can see everything and all of the experiences which Emmanuel has been talking about during this podcast. And some of the images are just absolutely fabulous on the website as well. So can't recommend that highly enough. Emmanuel, that's all we've got time for, unfortunately, this week. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of our listeners to say that we're certainly going to be inspired to get over to Italy. From a personal point of view, I'm absolutely desperate to get over and explore more of your wonderful country. And just as soon as the travel is allowed again, I'm sure I'll be on the phone to you myself to see where we can go with my family too. But thank you so much for being so generous with your time, and thank you for showing us a little bit of your Italy as well.
Thank you very much for your time for this podcast, and it was really my pleasure. And fingers crossed for travel. So I hope we can travel soon.
I hope so too. All the very best.
Thank you.
So there you have it. Sincere thanks to Emmanuel for taking the time to highlight and share his experiences with us this week. Please do check out charmadventure.com to learn more about the types of tours and experiences which can be enjoyed during the low season months in Italy. I'm absolutely convinced that what Charm Adventure offer will take your breath away. Thanks for your company this week, and if you'd like to learn more about what the travel industry is doing to recover from the coronavirus, we're running a webinar entitled Keeping the Dream Alive. It's going to be alongside our partners at the World Tourism Association for Culture and Heritage, and we're running it every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the next 5 weeks. We'll be hearing from some of the world's leading authorities on tourism recovery, and you can find the full registration details on the Low Season Traveller pages on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you haven't already done so, please do sign up to receive our latest updates on the lowseasontraveller.com website, and then you'll be among the first to experience the world's first low-season dedicated travel website, perfect for inspiration as we wait and dream of future travels. Have a great week, stay healthy, stay safe, stay home, and don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and social networks. Our content will always be free for everyone, as we believe that travel is better without the crowds.